Support comes from St. Louis Public Library Foundation, helping the library serve children and their families with programs and services needed to become lifelong readers. More information about the foundation is at slpl.org.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. Music at the Intersection 2024 took place over the weekend at Grand Center. Here to talk about how the festival went overall, as well as some notes on ways the festival experience can be even better in the future, we have producer Miya Norfleet. Miya, welcome to this side of the show again.
Thank you.
So this was your second Music at the Intersection. And in observing and talking with folks who were there this year, what was the general vibe you got?
The general vibe I got is still, it's St. Louis's music festival. It's still very relaxed. The footprint was a little bit smaller, but it didn't really make it seem crowded. It just made it like more things were quicker to get to. Mm-hmm. A lot of people very happy, very it gave me the sense of what I see what I think of when I think of St. Louis and the people who make up St. Louis. It was all there at the festival.
Yeah. And they were also dealing well with the conditions, hot and sweaty and also wet on Sunday.
Yeah, it was hot, but at the same time, like, music lovers will go through anything to enjoy a good show.
Mm-hmm. Now, last year, you talked with Christy Fairbanks, who was a festival goer, and she was in Grand Center for this year's festival, too.
Music at the Intersection is my favorite festival by far. I think it's partly the diversity of the crowd, the diversity of the music, the quality of the music. It's not necessarily acts that a lot of people know, but there are a lot of up-and-coming acts. And then this year in particular, the St. Louis musical acts have been just jaw-dropping.
So musical acts that are not up-and-coming but have been around for quite some time. Mm-hmm. We got a chance to talk with rapper Chingy on last Wednesday's show about his 20 years plus in hip-hop and returning to his hometown to be a headliner for Music at the Intersection. Mm-hmm. Did he bring it, Miya?
Yeah, like once the show got started, festivals, live productions, sometimes there's some technical difficulties, but that didn't really stop Chingy at all. Once he got on stage and got going, it was energy throughout. It was really fun. Like, of course, he did right there. You gotta. But he also did, I don't know how many people realize how much of a heartthrob Chingy was and is. So a lot of his songs that are specifically for the ladies he performed, and that, as a lady, I enjoyed a whole lot.
Now, Mayor Tashara Jones was also there, and she joined Chingy on stage at the end of his set and presented him with a proclamation declaring September 14th, 914, as Chingy Day. Here's what she said, and Chingy said after the post-show.
It's important to give people their flowers while they're here with us. And if you look at the St. Louis music scene, the fabric of that, Chingy is all in that fabric. All in it.
All up so,
up in there, right? And so it's important for me to recognize our artists and recognize our music because it contributes to the fabric of music of our entire country, our entire world. And so we want to recognize our artists while we can.
So we did not know that this was going to happen when Chingy was on our show last week. What made this proclamation then such a big deal to Chingy himself?
Right, kind of like how Mayor Jones said, it's important to give people their flowers, which is, give their, show them and tell them how much they are respected and beloved in the community before it's too late, before they're gone. And it's something that, especially I feel like with artists and musicians, that it's not until they've passed away before so many people can stand up and say like, oh, this person meant so much to me, or their music did this to me or for my career. But to tell them and be able to look them in the eye and celebrate them in front of an audience and say like, no, you really did put St. Louis on the hip hop map. You really did contribute to what a St. Louis sound is. So it's really important to have those moments, especially amongst other people and not just in, the meeting room or in an email. Like, say it out loud.
Mm-hmm. And in Grand Center, too,
Right.
which has been recognized nationally as well as locally. Now, Maya, last year, you and senior producer Emily Woodbury, you spoke with a number of festival goers about why they came out and what they think about the local music scene. This time around, you and our production intern, Jada Jones, you talked with local artists themselves and asked them about their experiences. Mm-hmm. And saxophonist Scooter Brown played on the big top stage in the Jazz St. Louis celebration of jazz from the East Side. Yes. And he shared this.
Again, it's a big hang. It's a family reunion. But it's also like a platform and a safe space for other artists to create, like not just create, but to make new art with other folks. Like for me, this is like where at the very first Music at the Intersection, I played with Gregory Porter, and now I'm in his band. So it to me, it's like it's just an opportunity for you to grow, an opportunity to network, an opportunity to kick it, an opportunity to like meet your heroes. Because your hero. I know they say don't meet your heroes, and sometimes it could be like kind of crappy. But I truthfully, like, it's been a pleasure like being a part of this festival because it put me in a position to where I can meet my heroes.
Now, there were many other local musicians who played at Music at the Intersection this year. Mm-hmm. And KV the writer is among those who said that the festival has some room for improvement when it comes to how local artists are treated.
My experience here it's felt like the artists here that are from here are kind of separated from the national acts. Like it doesn't feel like we're getting the same treatment as national acts. We weren't allowed to get food in the artist village. Like they told us that was only for national acts. Sandwiches were only for national acts.
Maya, what else were you hearing from other local musicians you spoke with?
Yeah, every local musician that I talked to, all of them expressed gratitude for the opportunity, right, to be a part of Music at the Intersection, to have their name on a flyer right next to Shaka Khan, right next to Chingy, right next to Big Boy. But there were a number of local artists at specifically at the Walls on Washington stage, which if you had been to a Music at the Intersection before, that's where Master Camp had like a guerrilla pop-up. This year they brought it into the fold as like an official stage for the festival, but a lot of the artists, most of the artists that performed at that stage experienced not being able to access the artist village, which was meant for artists to go and relax and mingle with other artists, including those national acts. What food meant to be provided, if it's a sandwich or is it just a bag of chips. But mind you, these artists are outside in that same heat. There were artists also on the main stage, the Wash Ave stage, who were also denied food, but they were local artists. So that was an issue for a lot of people this weekend.
Now, after you spoke with those artists, Maya, you brought their concerns to Chris Hansen, and he's the executive director of the Kranzberg Arts Foundation, which is the driving force behind Music at the Intersection, and he's been a guest on our show here. Here's what he told you.
Every year, this festival is about celebrating St. Louis and St. Louis talent. And every year we try to take care of everybody at all the stages. There's full hospitality in the backstage of every stage. Every artist has their different requirements, but we make sure there's a basic hospitality that is set up at every stage. And every artist should also be able to talk to the artist liaisons and get the things that they need and the access that they need, because there are teams of people here to support them.
Now, the Kranzberg Arts Foundation also followed up with a statement yesterday. What did that add, Maya?
Yeah, the statement added, recognizing the fact that this is a festival that welcomes over 10,000 people, at the very least, 10,000 people. They're managing the attendees, they're managing artists, they're managing artist teams and bands and dancers. So there's a lot of room for potential, miscommunication, misunderstandings. And what they shared with me in the statement on Monday is that, they're working to connect and rectify those issues, try to find out what went wrong where, and to work more closely with Master Camp, especially as they bring in more local talent into this music festival.
Mm-hmm. And then the last 30 seconds, Maya, what's your sense about music at the intersection going forward?
I think it's really all about scale and providing the best experience, not just for attendees, not just local or folks who are coming in from out of town, but for the artists as well. You know, once we loved Chaka Khan, it was a blast, but she's left. And now we have all these artists who are from St. Louis, work in St. Louis, create in St. Louis, and we should give them their flowers and the opportunity to perform the best they can as well.
Mm-hmm. Miya Norfleet is a producer for this show. Thanks for the recap, Maya.
Always a pleasure.
This episode was produced by Miya Norfleet,
with production assistance from Jada Jones.
Our audio engineer is Aaron Dorr. This podcast was mixed and edited by Aaron.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations, and leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thank you.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
The Gateway brings you the day's news each weekday from around the St. Louis region and the state capitals in Jefferson City.
Our schools are accredited. We don't need this bill.
And Springfield.
How many more years must pass before lawmakers see time is of the essence?
I'm Abby Larico. Join me each weekday for The Gateway on the STLPR app or wherever you get podcasts.